And I thought we'd use a slight different theme here.
Scary.
Yeah, it's going to be scary. What do I need to tell you first? Let me tell you first the story. This is a story of a fella who told stories. I'll tell you what a wheel of knives is in a second. What do you need? This Lojong is long, really long, like over 50 pages. Yeah, and every part is like really strong. So I'm going to share it with you in a couple of parts. Before we started, I want you to know the legend or the myth or the story of where it came from. And this is, like the Jakarta tales where the Buddha and his cronies are talking about really awesome stories, and then they tell you, this was me in one of my past lives, so you can get the moral of the story. But in this Lojong, there was this tiny... The story about this Lojong, there was this tiny fishing village around the time of the Buddha, 500, 600 BC. And there was this family that lived together, the mother, and the father was a fisherman for many years, and all the kids around were fishermen, children of fishermen as well. It was a fishing village. And one day the father goes out to sea, and of course what happens in these fishing villages is sometimes they don't come back. And so the mother is like grief-stricken. The kid misses his dad a lot, right? And so he's a young kid. He's, 17, 18, I'm making that up. But he's a young kid and he misses his dad, and all his buddies are saying, I'm old enough to go fishing now. I'm going fishing. We're taking a ship and going. Will you come, please? And he's like, Mum, can I go? And the mother is like, please don't go. Don't leave me alone. I don't want what happened to your dad to happen to me. Please don't go. And he says to his buddies, I'm sorry, I can't go. Mum said no. So the kids go out. The kids, they're teenagers, right? They're adults. They're about to become fishermen. They go out. They have these awesome experiences. It takes months. And then they come back and... they're good, they have this amazing growing up experience, and he's not included. And so they get ready to go again, and another period of time goes by, and they try and convince him, and they say, please come, we're buddies. And he's like, I'll ask Mum, please can I go? And she's like, please don't go, I beg you, please stay. And he's a little bit more, come on Mum, these are my buddies. She's like, please don't. Don't want anything bad happening to you like mothers do. So anyway, the kids go out and they come back, and a third year or a third period, I don't remember, go by, and they said, come on, we're getting really good at this fishing, going around weird places. We find these exotic places and they're amazing and it's a life experience, please come. And he's like, Mum, please, can I go? She's like, no. He's like, screw it, I'm going, Mum. I'm big enough, I'm going. She stands between him and the door, begging him, please stay. And he pushes over and she falls over, knocks her head, and he's like, ugh. And he walks out, he goes with his friends, and he begins to have this growing up experience, this beautiful maturing experience of being with his buddies and being a fisherman, And of course, as these stories go, the fishing trip doesn't go so good, and the boat crashes and they get shipwrecked, and he's the only survivor of all his friends, and he passes out on the shore of some island, and he comes to sort of half awake and half, like not sure, memory a little screwed up, and then this holy angel, sexy cheeks appear, and this is my little license. It didn't really look like my dad. Was that good? Yeah. And they're like, let me we take care of you. You've landed in this desert island, and they take him to this place. It's just magical, full of bliss, and he lives there for a long time. And he goes out into the forest, and the forest is this magical place, and he's, lavished with food and probably pleasures that I'm not interested in, and things like that. But then something happens, and he trips or passes out or gets lost in the forest. I can't really remember, and he wakes up and comes to, and he's disorientated. He doesn't know where he's at, and of course some other holy angels appear, and they're like, "Oh, you landed in this part of the desert island, and let us take you to our palace and lavish you with goodness," and so on. So he spends many years there enjoying his life, forgetting the far distant memory of his fishing village. And then he goes wandering out again into the forest, and he comes to this fort in the distance, this strange looking thing. I can't remember whether he passed out again and then woke up, but I think he did. And he wakes up and he comes to this huge fort, and there's this moat and this huge door, not a door, the bridge comes over, and he walks in and he enters this huge, creaking, whatever that happens. And then he walks in there, and the door shuts behind him, and he's in this huge space. And up above, what's the place called? It's like a mezzanine, pulpit. Yeah, pulpit. And in this pulpit, this person appears up in the distance, and he has this wheel of knives, this mechanism, this machine cutting away at the edges of his head, around his head, and he's in pain and bleeding, and this kid's like, "Oh my God, what happened to you?" And he comes down, and they are face to face, and this guy's in complete pain, but you can't touch him for the thing, and the kid's like, what happened to you? I just appeared here, I was lost, and the guy starts telling him his story, and he says, it's a long story, and it's like, "Well, tell me, because I might be able to help you." And he says, "Well, I was a young kid, and I was living in a fishing village, and my dad died. My friends wanted me to go fishing with them, and I said no, because my mother asked me to stay, and so I stayed. And then the third time, my second time, my friends asked me to go with them. I also listened to my mother, and I stayed. I listened to her kindness, and I stayed. And the third time, I couldn't, and by mistake, I knocked her over on my way out, and she fell and hit her head, and then I was shipwrecked. I was the only survivor of our ship, got destroyed, and I ended up on this desert island. And because of my karma of listening to my mother, I know that these beautiful ladies lavished me with magnificent things to take care of me for years and years, because I listened to my mother and my kindness towards her. And then I got lost again, and then another group of beautiful beings took care of me for ages, because I took care of and listened to my mother, and I was kind to her. And then I passed out again, and I was lost, and the third time I came across this fort that I'm in right now, and the door opened, and I entered, and I met this man that had this machine around his head, just like I had hurt the head of my mum, and he had this machine around him cutting away, painfully cutting away at him, and he was in pain. And I asked him what his problem was. By this time the kid's like gulping, like he knows what's coming, right? And he's like, and then when I asked this man what happened to him, and he was telling me the story that was exactly my life, and exactly what I had done in my past was here in much bigger form, ready for me to experience. As soon as I realized that it was my life, the wheel detached from his head and came onto my head, painfully cutting away at me for my karma of having hurt my mother by mistake. That's like imprint becoming a whole reality. And by this time, the kid realizes, oh my God, it's my turn. It's my turn to live this story. And as the wheel detaches, it begins to come towards him. He realizes the pain this person is really having. And for a minute, for a millisecond, he has this bodhicitta and says, I wish I could take on your pain because it must come. My karmas must come to me. So he's like, please, I'll take it. I'll take your pain. I don't want you to have these years and eons of suffering based on the hurt that you mistakenly have done in your world. And as soon as he has that experience, he wakes up and everything is gone and he's in a lavish palace and things are beautiful because he had this bodhicitta experience. So that's the story of how this thing called Tsoncha Korlo, the wheel of, that's sometimes translated as the wheel of sharp weapons, right? But there's a reason why we call it wheel of knives, and I want to share it with you for a second. But what I need you to get in this class is, for the first part of the class, is the idea of karma, really as a sharp weapon coming back for every action of body, speech, and mind. Every subtle, tiny action, there must be an equal and opposite reaction experienced by your mind through the reality you live, right? Which must be necessarily bigger and longer and with more appearance than the tiny seeds you planted. The result bigger. That's what I need you to get as the essence. But before, let me tell you what the wheel of knives comes from. It's a Lojong called Tsoncha Korlo. Dharma Rakshita was a 9th century pandit from India. He was a scholar of Abhidharma, like a very scholarly, knowledgeable master at the time. That's a picture of him. And he was the teacher of Lord Atisha, who was who? Who was Lord Atisha? While I eat one of these. Yeah, he was one of the main beings that brought Buddhism to Tibet, tamed the natives, right?
Wait, who?
Lord Atisha.
No, but who wrote it?
Dharma Rakshita.
And why does it say by Lord Atisha? What's the commentary?
It was passed down by Lord Atisha, so.
Okay.
Thank you. And I think that happened because I didn't delete the previous thing. So Lord Atisha is like a central figure in Tibetan Buddhist philosophy. His teacher was Dharma Rakshita. Lord Atisha taught the Kadampas, which we talked about. What else do I need to tell you there? I'll tell you about how the text starts in just a second. The idea of this, so you got that, right? Cool? You got the story and you got how it started. Let me talk about Tsoncha Korlo, sometimes Tsonche Korlo, depending on which part of Nepal, the Tibet they come from. You get the idea of cause and effect. Once you've studied karma, you get the idea that if every every action you put out there through what you think and what you say and what you do, if you're working in that system, yeah, and you begin to see how that functions in your world, then this Tsoncha, which in Tibetan is the name of a weapon. That's why they call it wheel of sharp weapons. Yeah, like an atomic bomb is a Tsoncha in Tibetan. A knife is a Tsoncha. I don't know, a rock thrown at you is a Tsoncha. Yeah, and Korlo is wheel. Yeah, like Sipa Korlo is the wheel of life in Tibetan. So Tsoncha Korlo, you got to think of it as, why is it a circular feeling? So number one, the weapon looks like, I'll show you in just a second, it looks sort of like that, like a ninja star. And I'll show you the description of why we called it knives, or Geshe Michael called it knives. But the idea that every action you put out there creates your samsara is because, if you get this, this will help you. It's because our instinct in this place to battle the things that we have as problems, it'll mostly talk about problems, overcoming problems. Our natural tendency, our natural reaction when push comes to shove, or shove comes to push, is to do exactly the cause that will create that problem again. Yeah? You take my money, what's my instant response? I'm going to take yours, which causes you to take mine. If you understand that, then you understand this idea of throwing these Soncha Korlos out, these ninja stars. I'm Australian, so it would be better if he had translated it as a knife boomerang, or a boomerang that has knife. Why knives though? Why knives? Because they're painful. Yeah, and we're sitting there. Here comes the problem. I sit there. You hurt me. I feel hurt. You hurt me. It's in the language. Yeah, I'm gonna hurt you. Creating more. You hurt me. But because of the time lapse between cause and effect, planting a seed and getting the fruit, we are ignorant, we are lost at where this hurt came from. I didn't do anything to deserve this hurt. We think that. That's why in the West, we like victims. Yeah? In this system, you can't be a victim of anything because you are part of everything. That's hard for Westerners, right? And in that simple example, you hurt me and I didn't do anything to deserve this. It appears that way. I didn't do anything to deserve this right now. That's true. I didn't. But if you understand a deeper philosophy of where the world could possibly come from, not this way, but that way, then I must have that to be part of this situation. Because the thing is empty and I'm projecting that experience. All of a sudden, in this system, you get to see how we are forever throwing out this Soncha Korlos out into the world. They take their time to come back. I walk into this room and they hit me over the head. I'm like, I didn't do anything to deserve that. We're forever throwing these knife boomerangs that hurt us. In the actions we naturally, in the instincts we have here, are just creating these weapons that are the only thing hurting us. Yeah? And this next Lojong is going to begin in a kind of sutra open Buddhist way, and then dive you into a secret teaching, weird look at the world way, and I'm going to end it there next week. Yeah? So I'm going to invite you to, first of all, we got that. The word knives instead of sharp weapons comes from Nungchu Dharmabhadra is a very important figure in our lineage of our secret teachings. And in one of the texts describing a creation stage of a secret teaching of one of the deities called Yamantaka, or Slayer of Death, or something like that, the fierce one, he has this little, you see it there? I think I'll put it there for you. He's got this little wheel of knife there. Can you see it over there? Look, there it is. No. Right? And described in that commentary, it says it has many spokes, it's got knives on both sides, it's got a hole in the middle to hold it, etc., etc., etc. So that's why the translation, better than wheel of sharp weapons, which just lets your imagination think of something, is talking about a specific implement here that will serve you later if you progress in the practice. Does that make sense? Yeah? So we got the name on the shape and the look and feel of what they're trying to share here in this Lojong. And then the text, first of all, by prostrating to the three jewels. Yeah? He's like, I take refuge in the three jewels like we did here today. Which is saying, open teaching, open, good Buddhist, I'm going to tell you about karma and emptiness, and we're going to find out about these correlations and so on. And then, almost like changing his mind, he changes and he says, no, I prostrate to you, the slayer of terrible things, this deity I showed you a quick picture of, right? So all of a sudden, he's like, no, screw that. Yes, it's open, good Buddhist practitioner, let me bring that goodness into the text. It's like, no, screw that. Let's go deeper to the course of my apparent course, and it will become apparent as we get to the end of this class, or the beginning, or when we open the next class, depending on how we go today. right? So the way I'd like to teach you the Lojong is I just want to read you it. I want to dispel a couple of problems and I want to let your mind stew on it. Is that cool? Then you can ask some questions, but I'd rather you didn't. Yeah? Not for anything other than not cutting the flow. Yeah? Like you need to internalize these things. Write them down if they're real serious questions, right? So that he starts off the Lojong. Someone's at the door. I think I just heard someone buzzing. By prostrating to the 3 jewels, and then he's like, no, I'm going to this fierce tantric deity, the smasher of the most horrible things. It's like this scary looking creature who scares even death. Yeah? If you can imagine a thing that would frighten even death, that's who he's like, I'm going to call you to help me with this Lojong. May you appear here. And you'll see why in the text, because the first half of the text, he does a little explanation, then about 25 verses of it, he's doing karmic correlations. That's all we're going to show you today. And what this means is, if you want to know why this part of your life is a problem, here is why. You want to know why this part of your life is a problem, here is why. And then he gets from a nominal sutra to a deeper practitioner, and a deeper practitioner to a person that only practices, yeah? And then he goes deeper. We're good? Excited? I'm excited. I love this Lojong. It's scary. Yeah. Okay.
Wonderful, scary.
I just want to make sure I'm covering everything. Okay. He starts off by saying, peacocks wander in the midst of forests of poison trees. A garden of healing herbs and plants may be something lovely, but peacocks have no love for them. They live off poison itself. What's he saying? Who are these peacocks?
Body practitioners.
Bodhisattvas. Cool. What's Lojong? It's turning on bodhisattva, right? So there was this belief in... Sorry, I'm eating while I'm talking, but I'm really quite hungry. This is me eating. It's still me eating.
Are you eating poison?
That was me swallowing. No, could be. So there's this belief that the peacock's beautiful colors, like extravagant, radiant appearance, came from their choice of eating things like poison ivy and venomous snakes and things that they saw them eating in India and Tibet at the time, and saying, here are these beings who transform the crap in this poisonous forest into the most stunning and beautiful appearance in the world, right? So the metaphor here about peacocks is that bodhisattvas, live in a forest of crap, of poison trees, samsara, where suffering is abundant. That's all there is here, right? And although relaxing and having a latte and putting your feet up and getting massage might be lovely in this dirty, disgusting forest, peacocks don't have time for that. They get frustrated sitting there going, I can't have another latte. I need to go and help someone. Yeah? They live off poison. What does that mean?
Samsara.
Yeah.
They take suffering and transform it.
Great. So this is the idea, right? So we're beginning to see the Lojong coming in. You think that this samsara is somehow self-existent over there. Once you get to practice and you've realized where things come from, all of a sudden you see a garden of food about to feed your steps to Buddhahood. You got no time for relax. It's boring for you to watch another Netflix series. Except for you. And and you. And me. And do you see it? It's lovely, right? It might lead your mind to a corner I don't want you to go, but I'll get to it in a second. It says here, Bodhisattva warriors are the same. A garden of comfort and pleasures may be something lovely, but warriors have no attachment to them. They live off a forest of pain. So we just covered that, right? It begins to invite you to think, if you are thinking this way and not that way, it might give you the wrong impression, which has become a stupid thing to think about in the West, that bodhisattvas, beings who wish to get enlightened for the sake of every living being, somehow enjoy this pain, are going to be martyrs of the cause. I'm going to suffer, I'm such a good bodhisattva. I'm going to take this to the logical end, right? See how stupid it looks. I'm going to look for the next mental affliction I can have so I can help every living being. I'm going to edge to nirvana and Buddhahood, and I'm so close, but no, I'm going to return to samsara. I'm such a good person. And help them without having been enlightened and understand how to get there. You see how it gives you that flavor? Reading this Lojong without understanding what a bodhisattva should be. What's a bodhisattva pledge? Get enlightened for the sake of every living being. Right? Throw a, what do you call the water thing that when people are drowning you? Huh?
Lifesaver.
A lifesaver. Throwing a lifesaver, right? It's like I'm going to jump in the water with you. I'm nearly off the ship and I'm able to throw you a lifesaver, but I don't know how to swim, but I'm going to jump in there with you and suffer with you. The lifesaver's up in the ship and you're like, let me help you. Right? There's a bodhisattva vow that says you do not do that. You must reach enlightenment. Because that's the only way you can help somebody. Imagine you really know how to free your mind. Right? Not yet you're getting to a heaven, right? It's like your mind is free from all mental afflictions. You've figured it out. You've had the realization. You can talk about it in a certainty that nobody has seen before. Do you leave that behind for a mental affliction in the forest of pain so you can be a good bodhisattva? Something's wrong. Yeah? So I want to dispel that because there is a kind of dharma rumo belief that bodhisattvas enjoy. They will return to the wheel. Impossible. We do a vow to not do that. You can't help anyone. So they have no attachment for the nice things, meaning okay to have them, and they live off a forest of pain, meaning they transform everything. The kings of cowardice who pursue comfort and pleasure find themselves transported instead to pain. Those mighty warriors who pursue pain for others find themselves forever supported by bliss, by the power of their courage. Again, you see how if you read this, it would tell you, oh, I've got to suffer. It's not what it's saying. Because you think about it. Karma says that what's karma? Someone tell me from the Abhidhamma-kosha, chapter 4.
Movement of mind.
Yeah, the movement of the mind and what follows. Yeah, its consequences. Yeah? What comes from karma, according to the Abhidhamma-kosha?
More.
All the worlds come from karma. Meaning every existence, every appearance, everything is karma. So why would a bodhisattva sit there and go, I'm going to be angry for 10 minutes? You see? It's not saying that. It's saying, if you do get angry, if you do get triggered in this garden of pain, within a very short time, you transform it. Right? You've trained yourself to not sit there and go, oh, they hurt me, I'm terrible, I'm in samsara, I'm dying, life's horrible. Not bodhisattva activity. You use that pain and very quickly turn it into an opportunity for something. For the sake of everyone else. May I learn something from this. May I turn it. May I transform it into the plumage of a peacock for the sake of everyone else. But the time frame better be shorter and shorter and shorter. If you do have it, transform it. It doesn't mean decide to keep it. Yeah? The point of this is to enter a state of perfect bliss. That's the only way you can help beings. How can bliss be possible? You'd be forced upon you. Yeah, it's forced upon you by every kindness. So if you don't do kindness, if you do pain, what must be forced upon you? Pain. So you understand you need to, if you have a clear understanding of karma and emptiness, if you know what karma is, which is the movement of the mind and what follows, all the worlds come from karma. You don't want to create a world of pain. But if you appear in a world of pain caused because you did something bad in the past, yeah, then you use that, ride that, transform that. Got that? Cool?
Yeah.
Cool. Got that. Bless you.
I see.
Cool. It says, now in this place, desire is like a forest of poison trees. Bodhisattva warriors, like peacocks, are strong enough to take it. Means you've habituated the transformation, yeah? Cowards, though, are like crows, or like crow, for the same leaves are death to it. How could those who think of what they want themselves ever have the strength to eat this poison? Yeah? Do you see how beautiful that is? If your mind is set on, I better take care of me first, you can't enter a state where it's troubling to you or suffering to you and transform that into a goodness, because you don't know where it comes from. You know? But if you do enter a bodhisattva perspective that says, I understand where things come from, karma and emptiness. Therefore, everything I do towards everyone else is an opportunity. So let me take on this shitty experience I'm about to have, whatever it is. Too late, it's coming. You can suffer from it and plant crappy karmas, or you can turn it around quickly. And this includes someone giving you a diagnosis for a disease. It's not like, oh, it's over now, I can't be a practitioner anymore. No, everything. Bad knees, heart condition, migraines, mental illness. And he's going to start going through them for you, just in case you didn't come up with any. 25 pages of them. And I'm going to just cover them a little bit. He's going to go, you think this? Turn it. You think that? Turn it. Yeah? Because what are we talking about in this Lojong? It's this metaphor of the wheel of knives, right? Everything we do comes back. So it's saying, you want to find out what you threw before? Check your life now. Yeah, and just as an aside, some people asked me last class, remember 2 classes ago I gave everybody an exercise, look for your main mental affliction, the main thing that gives you a problem in this life. There's a couple of ways to go around that. You can think about it. You could ask people around you, hey, what's my big problem? You could check your behavior over a period of a month or something and go, oh, this didn't turn out well. I felt afflicted, here it comes. And then review that list day after day after day. Review that list after a few months and you'll see a pattern. Or you could use this Lojong and say, well, what's the main blocker here in my life? Like, am I broke all the time? Am I making excuses why I don't get happy all the time? Do I have mental issues all the time? And my relationships are the main thing I'm focused on? Is not having sexy time an obsession? You know, etc., etc. This Lojong says, you want to find out what the main problems in your mind stream are? Check out the results of your life right now and then go to work on the causes, right? So we get to some of them, but before that, let's finish the peacock story. You liking it so far?
Yes.
Very quiet. So we said, desires like a forest of poison trees, bodhisattva warriors turn them. The same is true with all other mental afflictions there are. There are enough to threaten the life of nirvana for those like crows. The peacock bodhisattva, though, turns the poison forest of their mental afflictions into opportunities and food to keep them strong. They leap then into the forest of this vicious circle of life. They make it an opportunity and thus destroy the poison. It's this brave part that we talked about in the last Lojong. It's like, okay, here I am. if I understand this method, this view, karma and emptiness, then you could reverse engineer what the hell is in your consciousness dependent on what kind of life you have right now. Your particular afflictions, your particular problems, your particular reoccurring situations. You can go back and identify, yeah? And then with this vigor of I'm a peacock, you can transform them into information in a classroom becoming a dharma, a path, and a way out. You're looking very serious.
It sounds all fine to say turn it into an opportunity. Is this an opportunity to explore our own afflictions? What's the opportunity?
Someone answer, Richard.
An opportunity to
Transform the poisons of the afflictions into
what?
into
Dharma?
your path to enlightenment.
to
wake up.
Lojong.
You're jonging.
Training.
Zhong.
Well,
So we're training to recognize afflictions, training to see them, training
where would the opportunity be? Let's take an example of I get angry because you said something that hurt me. Yeah?
Change your behavior.
So I'm all of a sudden, what's the big metaphor? It's throwing this weapon, right? Normally, without practice, someone that's taken care of themselves, a crow, would react to that by saying, you're a silly person, I hate you, which will cause more of the same. A bodhisattva that understands where things really come from will say, oh my God, thank you so much in your mind, right? You still have to deal with her nominally. She's threatening you or whatever, you still have to deal with her. But in your mind, as a practitioner, you're like, I just saw a part of my seeds that I didn't see before. Wow. Only a peacock can do that in this metaphor. A crow cannot. Someone invested in themselves. So you hurt me. You're the cause of my hurt. I'm throwing out corals, right? The transformation, the opportunity is like, oh, I can stop that whole line of karmas. I can stop it right now. And if you come again, I'll stop it again.
So the magic ingredient is seeing your own self-cherishing or something.
Which is the point of the Lojong, right?
Ah.
Cool. Nice.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Sorry. What about resistance? Resisting letting go of me, letting that comes up in practical.
Yeah. Master Shantideva said you got to do it within your limits. And in the last few Lojongs, I said you keep pushing your limits, right? Keep pushing your limits. Don't jump so far that you fall into the abyss and you're destroyed because you didn't understand all this part and you want to be super brave. It's not the point. You've got to do it within your limits, right? What if your affliction is keeping nice, taking care of that little self-cherishing me that's got an identity? Then you're sort of screwed. You've got to jump in, right? But you know that more than anyone else because you live inside you.
So
Yeah.
do it gently and with compassion.
Do it gently and with compassion. And then if you read this Lojong, if that hasn't been working for a while, then he'll invite you to call on bigger forces. Yeah? Because we're about to go and see all the correlations of all the problems we have. And then halfway through the text, which we'll probably get to it next week, right? It'll be the last class. He has a realization that it's like, wait, I'm focused on these correlations. There's more here. And that might give you your answer.
I mean, it's definitely working. It's just, I'm just if I remember to keep compassion, that
Cool.
helps.
Yep. So everyone, push yourselves a little bit further. Why? You got no time.
And with
It worked.
the mental reverse engineering the mental afflictions.
Yeah.
The other thing that this seems to imply is Geshe Michael talks about it in the Four Powers course, which is, okay, this must be the cause for this, and so then retroactively doing 4 powers on something that you did before, and maybe even doing that Kendrick J practice.
Perfect. This is actually the 4 powers on steroid.
Yeah.
Cool. Who's a good reader? Because I'm embarrassed about reading and I'm sick of trying that karma. Who wants to have a read? You can do it from where you are. You don't have to come to the front. Someone with a loud voice. Yeah, you can do loud. You can sit there. I'm going to put it out there. Yeah. So now we're about to talk about correlations. And based on your understanding of karma and emptiness, you need to differentiate the how versus the why. Yeah? I have a backache. How did that come about? I never did yoga. I sat like a fat slob at my thing. My back was like that. Now the cartilage is too relaxed or whatever. Yeah? And that's how it happened. Why is it painful? Why? Oh, it's the neurons firing because okay, but why? That's still the how. And this invites you to go deeper than the how, to go why. Why do two situations, one for Hector, one for someone else, produce unhappiness and then produce happiness? We know the how, we don't know the why. Why does my backache cause me to lose $500 at the doctor and the doctor to make $500 from my backache? Because he went to university. Oh good, no, that's the how. Do you understand? Yeah? You're going to be invited over and over and over to look at that. What's your name? Sorry?
Gerard.
Gerard. Here we go, Gerard. Are you ready? Go.
Realize now that grasping for yourself is the henchman of the devil and keeps you here in this vicious circle, helpless to help yourself. Run now far from the state of mind that only wants what's good for me, that only wants what feels good, and happily take upon yourself any hardship for others' sake.
Cool. Who's the henchman of the devil?
Ignorance?
It's this grasping to self, yeah?
Yourself.
Yeah, it's exactly what you were talking about,
Holding on
right?
to it.
Holding on to this idea of I and self-existence and take care of me, right? So he's saying it keeps me here, this grasping to myself, which is the point of all the Lojongs, right? Take care of others as if they were you. Even like if you just had to do the logic, right? 7 billion humans. Forget about the chickens we slaughter and the goats we slaughter and the cows we make suffer. Forget all the other beings who are here. Just 7 billion humans. And then there is you. Let's put them next to each other. Which one is more important? This group or that group? Just with numbers. If you had to save the planet, should you save these 7 billion or you? Look, thinking about it logically, right? One of these two has to go. Which one's more important? Right? So 7 billion beings would have to go. So you can use all sorts of tricks. Does it mean you're not important? No, it's a silly trick. Why? To get rid of the impulse that says, if I take care of myself, my world will be correct, will be good. Wrong. Taking care of yourself creates more of less for you. Yeah?
It's also really helpful what you said before about the life preserver and not
Good.
keeping, because it's a blend.
Nice.
Does that
The
make
practice is a leveling up of these understandings. Yeah? Jerome, you ready?
Gerard.
Gerard, you ready? Good, because there was no Jerome. Lucky you were ready.
The mass of living beings are just like me, driven on against their will by karma, minds forever filled with negative thoughts. Let me take now all their pain and throw it down in heaps upon the head of the part of me that wants only me to be happy.
So he's saying, right? It's like, okay, I've got this weapon. It's coming. Like in the story at the beginning of the thing. Don't let it come at the selfish me, at the self-existent me that I am a victim of. Let me turn that thing and put it to the part of me that's causing all these problems. Right? He's like, yes, karma, come with force. Come strong. Get this one. The part of me that caused you to come. Yeah? See bodhisattvas turning? Yeah?
Yep.
And here it begins.
Whenever I feel myself being carried away by what I want, may I stop myself and give away my own happiness to others. Whenever those who pledge to help me instead do something very wrong, may I say to myself, it's because I failed to keep my mind on goodness, and thus put my heart at ease.
So here comes the first correlations. You get them? You see it? I've got a good person there to help me. Are you enjoying that one? Cool. And then these people are there to help me, and then all of a sudden they turn on me. Don't think it comes from them. You're getting your boomerang back. Yeah? Be a peacock. Realize what you did to cause it, and instead of the usual reaction, go, no, I'm going to do good right now. That will set my mind at ease because I understand causality. It's a different method. It's actually a true cause, not a full course. That's Gerard. Do you want to keep reading or do you want to pass it on?
Sure.
Ready? Let's go.
Whenever my body is stricken by some unbearable sickness, it's because the wheel of knives has turned on me again. The karma of doing harm to the bodies of other people. From now on, then, I'll take upon my own body all the sickness that comes to anyone at all.
So what should your mind go to when you're feeling sickness and pain and so on? Right? It's not the how. It's not. We're not talking about the how. Why am I hurting right now? Yeah, and it will turn your mind to, I better take care of other people. You're training your mind. Yeah, you're jonging your lo, because it will have a different result. Because
Whenever I feel any pain inside of my own thoughts, it's because the wheel of knives has turned on me again. Beyond a doubt, it's the karma of upsetting other people. From now on, then I'll take on myself the hurt that others feel.
Do I need to tell you any more? Can you read the next one?
What is pain inside of my own thought?
Pain inside your own thoughts. It's like just a disturbed mind, like it's the problem. Yeah.
Depression,
Mm-hmm.
anxiety. No. Okay.
Whenever I suffer in the service of another whose authority is more, it's because the wheel of knives has turned on me again. The karma of arrogance towards those who are less than me and forcing others to do my work. From now on, then, I'll force another. I'll force my own body and life into the service of others.
Okay. Thank you. Now let me do something here, okay? How long does it take? How long is a Chinese man? No. No, how long is his name? That's a joke, bad joke. How long does it take karma to ripen?
I feel like Sarah didn't get it. I don't get it.
No, how long is his
I don't think
name?
a lot of people got that. It's not easy.
I don't
to
get it.
How long is a Chinese man? No, how long is a Chinese man?
How long?
How long is his name?
How long
Oh,
is a Chinese man?
Chinese man long?
No. How long? That's his name. Thank you for letting us make fun. That's not where I was going. I was going to say, how long does it take for karma to ripen? But I couldn't resist. So if you all know John Stillwell, he's a teacher here at ACI. His kids did that to me for about 20 minutes. And I had no idea what it was. So I was so like, how can a 7-year-old get me? So now I can't stop telling the joke, just mostly to prove to myself that I'm not the only one. But here is a problem, okay, about karma for us that we don't like. Maybe you're not, maybe you haven't been an ass to people lesser than you. Maybe you don't force other people to do your work anymore. You've been born into this life and you don't have that impulse, yeah? But your experience of the world is telling you that you still have those seeds inside you. It's a different way of approaching a problem. Maybe I am not stingy anymore. Maybe I'm very generous, but I can't seem to get a paying job. And I try. I honestly try. and I went to university and I'm making efforts, but something keeps blocking my capacity to make wealth or be at ease and not worry about rent. I'm generous. So karma says if I'm generous, I must get a result, right? Or the other way around. I'm super wealthy, but I'm a stingy bastard. Yeah? So why is that? That's a problem for us because we have a different worldview of where wealth comes from. We think cause and effect are immediate. Yeah? As soon as I finish my university degree, I have a job. Wrong. As soon as I do the 40 hours a week, I get a good paycheck because 40 hours makes pay. No. But we still believe that as we do it. We are blind, we are so brainwashed to think in the way our system has structured, our culture. We believe it, and that's what we nominally function. And if you do 40 hours and you do 40 hours and you do 40 hours, we're going to earn the same, right? Because 40 hours comes from, the wealth you get comes from the 40 hours, right? Wrong. Even though it's wrong, we don't like to think about it that way. Because we don't have an alternative. And we don't want to think for ourselves. And this system is inviting you to really think for yourself. They're not listing all the problems you specifically have. They're giving you general guidelines so you don't fall the cliffs of nothing exists at all and everything exists just the way it is. You've got to figure out where your mind is creating the reality you're in. Okay, so yes, it's giving you general advices, right? But you still got to figure out, well, why would I have this experience? I'm generous. Or I am loyal to my partner, but all my partners cheat on me. You then have to investigate true causality, not nominal causality. Because here, nothing works. If you look at it through this system, in this planet, nothing works. You can't say going to university causes you wealth. Doesn't even cause you knowledge. Some people are really stupid after university. Serious. Yeah? Some people are really clever without it. Okay. Rachel, can you read the next one?
Yeah. Whenever an unpleasant
Really
word...
loud, sorry.
Louder?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever an unpleasant word from another comes and reaches my ears, it's because the wheel of knives has turned on me again. The karma of mistakes I've made, indifferent things I've said, divisive talk and such. From now on, then, the only thing that I'll talk bad about is what I say that's wrong.
Isn't that nice? See how it's turning the wheel onto itself? Yeah? If I'm going to talk bad about anything, I'm going to talk about bad. I'm going to talk bad about the thing that makes me talk bad about. Short circuit. Yeah? That's what it's supposed to do to your afflictions. Yeah? Naga, you want to do the next one? No? No problem, I understand. I moved from...
I also have a thing with reading in English not being...
Yeah, same. When I moved from Argentina to Australia, they made me stand up and read and I not speak English. Yeah. So, seriously, and I still have that problem. That's partly why I'm making you read it. Stephen, you want to read this one?
Whenever I find myself without anyone to help me, no friends of my own, it's because the wheel of knives has turned on me again. The karma of leading away those who were close to another. From now on, then, I'll never act in a way that makes others lose the ones who are close to them.
You got it? Jacqueline, can you read the next one?
When I can't think clearly, when I feel depressed at heart, it's because the wheel of knives has turned on me again. The karma of leading others to constantly do bad deeds. From now on, then, I'll avoid ever being a reason for others to do something wrong.
So I want to return back to that idea that you might have circumstances in your life that might not be correlated to what you did last week. Okay? What I just said about wealthy people being stingy, poor people being generous. Doesn't come from this life, doesn't come from this year. Yeah? It comes from before. So what do you do with that hint? What do you do with the hint that says you must have had stinginess in the past?
It's still part of you. If you're experiencing it. So you have to destroy the impression of it.
Great. So you fervently, yeah, excellent. You said it before. You do the 4 powers. You focus on that thing that's appearing there, even though you haven't done it in this life or that you can remember. But you must have it in. The logic says you must have it inside you. You must have the imprints of stinginess if you can't get wealth. Right? Even though you're working really hard and you're doing all the right things. It doesn't come from. That's the how you get money. That's the vehicle how you get money in the West is you got to do your job. The why a job turns into wealth is a different karma. The why is the real cause. So then you must go deep into the causes of all the things that you don't like about your world and start working on them as if you have done them. So all of a sudden, let's say I'm not stingy in this life. I am generous. You need to look at where you might have the slightest idea of stinginess in the back of your mind, in the transactions, and become like a microsurgeon and go, I'm going to get you, and pull that one out and really focus to remove that by mainly not being stingy in that respect, right? So am I stingy with my time? Because you're going to get the taproot of that collection of karmas if you go there, for using a metaphor. Are you with me? I'm giving you why things might appear in a way that you don't currently live, because the seeds are there. Proof, you have to study karma. If you want to do the experiment, then pick a something that keeps blocking you, look through these correlations and go, yeah, that's my problem. It's mental problems. Yeah, that's my problem. It's physical pain. Yeah, that's my problem. It's no friends here. And then go to the correlations and try. In the readings, which you should go look at, because it's more than this, the correlations are very black and white.
Can you answer the question you asked before about how long it takes karma to reckon?
Yeah.
You put that out in the
I did. It's just the same as a Chinese man.
Okay.
It's difficult to say. Nobody knows. Karma, there's 3 levels of reality. Obvious reality, we did this, remember? Hidden reality, emptiness is there. And very hidden reality, Shinto Kokyu. Karma and the fine workings of it are there. Very, very difficult. Nearly impossible. Like, why is it that when I speak there are high tones and low tones and you can figure out in between that's all karma, that's all coming for you. You tell me why. And how long was it there before you could understand it? And how come someone doesn't? You know, like, so finite. I don't know. Long time. It takes a long time. And to shorten that time, and this is something we're going to do in the future, to shorten that time, the object to which you act has to be very important to you. The energy and the power with which you do it has to be highly motivated and strong, emotional, something. Yeah. So, and then the scope of it has to be big. That's why bodhicitta is such an awesome karma, because you're directing a very big deal. Everybody suffering all the time to nobody suffering ever. Big scope. Just me hurting. 7 billion people. I'm going to stop hurting. Big scope. So that accelerates the karmas. Yeah. And then there's other techniques called tantra. Who wants to? Stephen, can you read this next one?
When the things I try to accomplish never seem to work out and I feel upset to the core, it's because the Wheel of Knives has turned on me again. The karma of obstructing the work of holy beings. From now on, then, I'll give up ever being a hindrance to them.
So here is a leveling down. Remember I said at the beginning of the class, he starts sutra, very open, and then he starts seeing that beings might be special, okay? And so he's now a deeper practitioner, and the rest of the verses will go there. He's like talking about all beings, or beings being holy beings, and so on. So he's getting deeper and deeper and deeper. Yeah? Who wants to go next? Someone? Sarah, you want to go? Uh-oh.
Class is over.
Class is over in 2 minutes. Did I do it? That's the same one?
Same one.
Yeah.
For no matter what I do, my Lama never seems pleased. It's because the Wheel of Knives has turned on me again. The karma of hypocrisy in my practice of the Dharma. From now on, then I'll try to be less insincere within my spiritual life.
Who wants to go next? Volunteer?
Sure. When everyone around me seems to criticize my every move, it's because the wheel of knives has turned on me again. The karma of not caring from my own side whether I'm good or how what I do affects others. From now on, then, I'll avoid doing any actions that are inconsiderate.
Next volunteer, who wants to go? Want to go again?
When it happens that as soon as I bring together a group of people around me, they begin to strive against one another, it's because the wheel of knives has turned on me again. The karma of wishing ill on others and splitting people into sides. From now on then, I'll never wish ill on others, but only do them well.
Thank you. Jim, you want to read?
Sure. When serious sickness comes to me, pneumonia, fears of death, cancer, water filling my limbs, it's because the wheel of knives has turned on me again. The karma of breaking the rules and nullifying myself by the act of strongly using those things that were supposed to be used for Dharma. From now on, I'll never do anything like stealing objects meant for Dharma use.
Nice. He's going deeper and deeper into a practitioner, okay? Who wants to go? Paul, you want to go?
When suddenly I'm stricken by migraines that rack my body, it's because the wheel of knives have turned on me again. The karma of doing those things that I pledged to never do. From now on then, I'll avoid every non-virtuous act.
So he's going from nominally looking at life problems to beginning to correlate problems to serious Dharma practice, okay? This gives you a hint about whatever world you're in, you're planting karmas and they have meanings covered with intention. So he's giving you a range of practitioners here. Normal, everyday, normal person, practitioner in a Dharma center. Yeah? The intention is what turns it into the seeds into a reality. You want to read the next one? I've got just a few more.
When I'm attacked by worries, by obstacles in my mind, when spirits come to haunt me, it's because the wheel of knives has turned on me again. The karma of doing wrong deeds toward angels and around the teachings of the secret word. From now on, then, I'll stop all the negative thoughts that wander throughout my mind all day.
Who wants to go next? Someone?
When my want for things is great, but I've nothing to pay for them, it's because the wheel of knives has turned on me again. The karma of failing to give to others and offer to the jewels. From now on, I'll work hard to make offerings and to give.
Thank you. One more? Next one? Who wants to read? Rachel.
When I look ugly to others and those around me insult me for it, it's because the wheel of knives has turned on me again. The karma of making holy images without taking the proper care and of letting anger drive me into a state of turmoil. From now on then, I'll craft these holy images right and learn to endure with patience.
Message there for those that see it. Who wants to go next? Someone volunteer, going once, going twice. Yeah.
When I practice Dharma as much as I can, but still cannot control my mind, it's because the wheel of knives has turned on me again. The karma of seeking ways to be important in a worldly way. From now on then, I'll only hope for freedom, devoting myself to it.
Are you ready for the last one, for this part? And then I might get a little intro to the next one. What's the metaphor of the weapon? It's like a boomerang, right? Every time you throw this, it comes at you. Yeah. So we have all these sayings in English for it, right? Like I shot my own foot. Is that like shot myself in the foot?
Yeah.
You know where that comes from? I think the story Geshe-la told was it was about this guy who'd wake up in the middle of the night and he'd be terrified because there'd be these two eyes looking at him and he'd be frightened and go to sleep and wake up. And the next day he'd open his eyes at night and his two eyes, this vision would appear and he's scared. And one night he's like, I'm getting a shotgun. And then he opened his eyes and there's two eyes and he shoots and it's his toenails reflecting the moonlight. So he shot his own foot. Anyway, so I don't know if that's true or not, but that's
Digging your own grave.
Digging your own grave. Anything else? We have all these things. Come on. You get the idea, right? What you do is causing your reality. We have these sayings in the West. The idea of here, so that the text has two. One is this one, the idea of a blacksmith carving a sword to kill someone, right? But it's going into someone else, and by mistake he falls on it. Or an archer about to throw, and then it goes the opposite way. So it's the same idea. So Richard, you want to read this one?
Okay. To put it in a nutshell, everything that ever falls upon us that we never wanted is just the same as a blacksmith who accidentally kills himself, forging a sword for someone. It's all because the wheel of knives has turned on us again. Decide then that from now on, you'll be careful not to commit a single negative act.
You get the heaviness of this text. I didn't give you all of the ones, all the correlations. They're in the reading. You should go look at it. It's heavy, but it gets heavier. So I know we got 10 minutes before we finish. I want to invite you, if you want to see the first few lines of the next class. Is that okay? You're out? Yeah. So let me exit from here and that. And he's like, screw that. I'm inviting the most vile, vicious creature I can conjure up that would finally destroy this liar, this horrible thing inside of me that's got me trapped in this bullshit. And I'm going to invite them to grab this wheel and direct it at this bastard. The thing inside of you that causes all your pain. The one that's pretending that you're taking care of everything. So he conjures up the most vile creature, this Lord of Death. And he says, Now let's see the wheel of knives of karma cut his skull. Oh, angel of wrath, he's conjuring up this horrible creature, right? And then this creature has symbolism. And I'll leave you there, yeah? Now cut his skull, cut thrice, stand like a god on widespread legs of knowledge and of two truths. Staring hatred with two eyes of method and of wisdom. Open your jaws and show your fangs, four powers of confession. Sink them deep into the flesh of this my hated foe. He's like, we're going to play there. We're going to play with this projection thing. Well, I'm sick of calling nice little Buddhas over here. Let's get the most filthy, disgusting, scary thing I can ever have and point that weapon with that might straight at you, the source of all my pain. That part of me that pretends that this self has it all right, this caring for myself alone, it's still there while you're doing all your nice practices. He's like, no, let me chop you at the head. Get that wheel and put it on your head, because if you stop, the whole world's suffering will stop. And so the symbol is that the two truths are, it sees relative truth and ultimate truth. It sees how things are appearing through dependent origination and that things are empty. Yeah? So it stands on two legs like this. The two eyes of method and of wisdom, meaning bodhicitta and understanding of emptiness. Deepening those two, and the four fangs are what Scott said, right? With this power of confession, mainly stopping doing the crap you don't want in your life anymore for the sake of everyone else. Those four fangs, sink that into the flesh of this bastard that destroys our lives for the sake of everyone. And may I do this practice to death. Mr. Death, come over, destroy. Come have a fight. And the text gets weird from there on. So, in a really cool way. So let's have a quick dedication. Let that sink into your mind. If you wrote some questions, ask them. And for whatever reason you've entered into a matrix that gives you possibilities that others don't. So I hope you see that in the little green lines. And see it with as much wisdom as you can. Meaning, what moments of your life have you offered wisdom to others to help them free themselves from pain? And see this as coming from that.
Sashi
Ukir Jishin Metotram Viral Lingshi Yundegam Hadi Sangye Shindu Mite Viwargi Drogun Namdar Shimla Chupasho Idam Guru Ratnamandala Kaninyatayami Diyogun Sunam Yashe Zokzokshin Sunam Yashe Lejin Hui Rampa Kuni Tokarsho. Thank you for letting me share the ramblings, and I hope something got moved inside of you that you can use in the next minute, in the next hour, throughout your day, tomorrow and beyond, towards every being you experience. Thank you for sharing your moments with me here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay.
It's pretty awesome. So next week is the final class of ACI 14.
It's
Thursday, this week, in 3 days. And then I'm out until January. I wish I wasn't, but I really wish I am. And Rachel will be holding homeworks and quizzes discussion groups.
No.
I implore you, she will,
but
we'll be announcing when and where. I implore you, please, if you have an opportunity to maintain this thinking through sharing discussion with each other and doing your homeworks and quizzes, there is no better medicine for your silly mind than just placing your mind on this stuff over and over. Yeah. So I encourage you, please, try and do that. The readings and homeworks and quizzes are online, which means you can read the whole Lojong. Yeah. And all the others we've taught, and review them, because it's heavy. It's not something you read just once and go, I got it. It's not that. This is a lifetime relationship with a text. If I was staying here, I would grab all the Lojongs in this text, in this reading. I would put them in a little 3 jewels book. I would print them, and I would ask everyone to contribute, and then we would all have one. But I'm not here. I'm going away. If you want to take on a project, there's one that you could, if you wanted to. The other thing is, next week are we doing, this week on Thursday?
Yeah. Well, everybody in this room has fed me a great deal. So I'd like to feed everybody in this room as well. So I'm going to make food, and if anybody else would like to make food as well for Thursday, that would be lovely. So perhaps if you'd like to bring food Thursday, that would be good.
So Thursday, some food, 7:30, and we can eat it after we finish class, which is at 8:45, 10.
Can I add something
Yeah.
about the review sessions?
Yeah.
Please come up to me if you're not on the email list. I'm going to send out an email about when the review sessions will start. I'm going to Nepal, so it will have to be after I come back from Nepal. But it's not just, it is doing the homeworks and quizzes, but if you ask anyone who comes, it's not just that. Often we're discussing issues that are arising. And you might find that